Good evening, I'm Samriddhi Kesi and these are the headlines of the hour. Kathmandu District Court grants to remand Durga Prasad in custody for 12 days. Investigation on organized crime and state offence continues. High-level Economic Reform Recommendation Committee suggests to repeal 15 laws for economic improvement, suggests to provide old age allowance to people above 70 years. China retaliates against U.S. President Donald Trump's reciprocal tariffs by raising its levies on U.S. goods to 125%. And 10th National Games scheduled to happen at Karnali Province postponed for the third time. National Sport Council accuses provincial government of weak implementation capacity. Medical entrepreneur Durga Prasad, who was the commander of the pro-monarchy protest of March 28th in Kathmandu, has been arrested after being on the run for 2 weeks following a violent demonstration in Tinkune. The protest, which Prasad led, resulted in arson, vandalism of private property, looting and the deaths of a journalist and another individual. Following information that Prasad had surrendered in Assam, India, Nepali police brought him to Kathmandu via Bhadrapur. Prasad is the main accused in the March 28th incident. He and his security guard Deepak Khadka have been remanded in the custody for 12 days for investigation by the Kathmandu District Court.
दुर्गा प्रसाद परसाई र दीपक खड्काको म्याद थपको लागि अदालतमा उपस्थित गराएको थियो। उहाँहरूको लागि राज्य विरुद्धको कसुरमा श्रीमान शिशिरराज ढकालको इजलासबाट 12 दिन म्याद थप भएको अवस्था छ भने दुर्गा प्रसाद परसाईको हकमा चाहिँ उहाँले म बिरामी छु भन्ने जिकिर लिएको हुनाले उहाँको जिकिरलाई सम्बोधन गर्दै इजलासबाट उहाँको सम्बन्धित चिकित्सकको सिफारिसमा उपचारको समेत प्रबन्ध गर्नु भनेर निर्देशन समेत भएको छ अनुसन्धान गर्ने निकायलाई।
Police, who had already arrested over 80 people, may file charges against Prasad, including offences against the state, organized crime and the murder of journalist Suresh Rajak. The investigation following Prasad's arrest is expected to reveal the planning behind the violent protest of March 28th. Notably, Prasad was initially detained by police immediately after the incident, where a vehicle was driven at the security personnel during the protest, but was subsequently released under unclear orders. After his disappearance, a special police team was deployed to locate him. Despite identifying his location in India, police opted for a practical approach to bring him back due to the lack of legal avenues. Prasad, who had been moving between locations in India, released a video stating he would appear if his safety was guaranteed, and his secretariat reported his arrival at Assam police 24 hours later.
दुई तीन किसिमको जस्तै त्यहाँ जो मृत्यु भएको छ उहाँहरूको सम्बन्धमा पनि अनुसन्धान भइरहेको छ। कानुनको उल्लङ्घन गर्ने हकमा चाहिँ एक दिन हुन सक्छ, 2 दिन हुन सक्छ, 3 दिन हुन सक्छ, केही समय ढिलो हुन सक्छ, तर जसले कानुन उल्लङ्घन गरेको छ उ कुनै न कुनै दिन कानुनको दायरामा आउनै पर्छ र त्यसका लागि हामी यथाशीघ्र कानुनको दायरामा ल्याउनको लागि हामी सबै सुरक्षा संयन्त्रहरू सजग छौं र त्यो अनुसार हामीले आफ्नो काम कारबाहीहरू गरिरहेको अवस्था छ।
Police are also investigating whether internal or political forces aided Prasad's escape. They are meticulously analyzing CCTV footage and social media content from the protest sites to identify all involved individuals. Prasad, a controversial medical business person with a history of shifting political affiliations, is known for expanding his influence through political backing. Former Secretary Rameshwar Khanna-led High-Level Economic Reform Recommendation Commission has suggested that the government regulate rather than control industries and trade to overcome the existing economic stagnation. In the report submitted to Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister Bishnu Paudel today, the Commission has included suggestions ranging from the repeal or amendment of 15 laws to providing relief to cooperative victims for economic improvement. The Commission has concluded that economic reform is possible only if the amendments and practical implementation are carried out. The report also states that forest and environment-related laws are hindering investment in industries and a separate law should be made to manage construction materials. Likewise, concluding that the economy has not been able to move due to decrease in both market demand and supply, the Commission has suggested adopting a policy to reduce cost, increase production and maintain the value chain.
भूमिका खेल्न पर्यो नियन्त्रण बढी भयो भने आर्थिक गतिविधि विस्तार हुन सक्दैन व्यावसायिक स्वतन्त्रता आर्थिक स्वतन्त्रता दिनु पर्यो नियन्त्रणहरू कम गर्दै लिएर जान पर्यो र त्यो गर्ने क्रममा कतिपय कानुनहरू चाहिँ नियन्त्रणमुखी भएको हुनाले र सामान्य आर्थिक अपराधमा पनि जेलै पठाउने अथवा व्यवसाय नै बन्द गरिदिने यस्ता कामहरूले चाहिँ आर्थिक गतिविधि विस्तार हुन सक्दैन त्यही भएर त्यस्ता कानुनहरू खारेज गर्नुपर्छ र कतिपय कानुनहरू चाहिँ नयाँ तर्जुमा गर्नुपर्छ र अहिले भइरहेका नीतिहरूमा जुन किसिमको समस्या छ त्यसलाई सुधार गर्नुपर्छ भनेर प्रत्येक क्षेत्रगत हिसाबले हामीले चाहिँ विश्लेषण गरेर सुझाव दिएका छौँ।
The Commission has suggested guaranteeing easy availability of river-based materials to facilitate development and construction work. Likewise, concluding the tax burden has discouraged economic activity, the Commission has suggested reducing income tax and making arrangements to prevent political parties from receiving donations. Furthermore, to reduce the economic burden, it has also suggested increasing the age of senior citizens receiving Social Security allowance by 2 years. While stating that it will take time to liquidate loss-making public institutions and recover assets from problematic cooperative organizations, the Commission has suggested arranging immediate return of savings up to 500,000 to cooperative victims, with the remaining amount to be recovered later. The Commission has also recommended implementing the reports of the previously formed Public Expenditure Review Commission and the High-Level Tax System Committee. The private sector demands immediate implementation of the Commission's report.
आम इन्भेस्टर चाहे डोमेस्टिक होस् चाहे एफडीआईबाट आउने इन्भेस्टर चाहिँ किन नहोस् त्यसलाई चाहिँ उत्साहित गरेर नेपालमा नै रोजगारी सृजना गर्ने नेपालमै नै धेरैभन्दा धेरै भन्नाले चाहिँ रेभेन्यू बढाउने पूर्वाधार बनाउने र आम पब्लिकलाई चाहिँ सेवा दिने हिसाबको चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ वातावरण बनाउँछ भन्ने कुरो यसले चाहिँ देखाएको छ।
यदि यो रिपोर्टको कार्यान्वयन पूर्ण रूपले हुने हो भने हाम्रो आर्थिक वृद्धि दर 9% भन्दा माथि जान्छ। उहाँहरूले पनि यो कुरामा सहमत हुनुभयो। मेजर समस्या के छ भने हामी खुला बजार अर्थतन्त्र भनेर हिँडिरहेका छौं, तर यो कोभिड महामारीपछि जति पनि नीतिहरू आए नि त्यो सबै नियन्त्रणकारी नीतिहरू आए क्या। अहिले 9 मात्रैको खुला बजार अर्थतन्त्र छ, यसलाई खुला बजार अर्थतन्त्रको हिसाबले अगाडि बढाउन दिनु पर्यो।
रोजगारी सिर्जना गर्न सक्छौं, आयात प्रतिस्थापन गरेर हाम्रो ट्रेड डेफिसिट घटाउन सक्छौं भन्ने कुरा प्रिन्सिपली हरेक ठाउँमा यो एग्रीड छ, यो गर्ने हो। तर त्यो पनि हामीलाई धेरै यो रिस्ट्रिक्टिभ पोलिसीहरूले गर्दा रोकिराखेको अवस्था छ। तर अब यो जुन हाम्रो यो प्रतिवेदन आएको छ यसबाट यो उत्पादनशील क्षेत्रलाई नै अगाडि बढाउनु पर्छ भन्नेमै हामीले फोकस गरेर दिएका छौं र यो अब पोलिसी इम्प्लिमेन्टेसनमा जाने हो भने उत्पादनशील क्षेत्रको जीडीपीमा योगदान बढ्दै जान्छ भन्ने हाम्रो विश्वासै छ।
The Commission has suggested mobilizing loans targeting high-return projects. Likewise, it has also been proposed to reduce the penalty levied under the Income Tax Act by 50% even for normal errors and omissions other than planned tax evasion. The report also mentions fixing custom rates in a way that the price difference between goods in Nepal and India is not significant. Finance Minister Bishnu Paudel said that the suggestions given by the Commission would be implemented.
यस्तो पनि हुने गरेको छ कि आयोग बनाउने र आयोगको प्रतिवेदन चाहिँ दराज सजाउनका निम्ति प्रयोग हुने त्यसखालको पनि अनुभव छ। यसपटक सरकारले दराज सजाउनको निम्ति यो चाहिँ आयोग गठन गरेको थिएन। आयोगका सुझावहरू कार्यान्वयनका निम्ति थिए भन्ने त्यो चाहिँ स्थापित गर्ने पनि सरकारको प्रयास रहनेछ भन्ने पनि
The government had formed the High-Level Economic Reform Recommendation Commission under the coordination of former Finance Secretary Rameshwar Khanna last October to reduce the country's economic stagnation and make the economy dynamic. It is time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion. But before today's question, let's take a look at the results from yesterday's poll. Yesterday, we had asked you what's your take on the dissatisfaction of the ruling party members towards the workforce and government's mechanism. 51% voted for option A, weak government work, 41% voted for option B, political rhetoric, and 8% voted for option C, review needed. Here's today's question. Why has there been weak implementation despite suggestions from commissions and committees for structural reforms for the economic improvement? Option A, lack of willpower. Option B, lack of action plan. And option C, result of instability. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Welcome back. Responding to the call of Nepal Teachers Federation, teachers of public schools have continued their indefinite educational street protest for the 10th consecutive day. Teachers and staffs of public schools have been persistently carrying out a Kathmandu-centric protest demanding the enactment of the School Education Act. Today, they demonstrated from Maitigarh to Baneshwar. Previously, on the 9th day of the protest, discussions were held between the Minister of Education along with high-ranking officials of the ministry and the Teachers Federation. However, formal talks have not been possible as no agreement was reached on the teachers' demand. The protesting teachers have put forward a proposal that the Council of Ministers should decide on issues such as the permanency of temporary contract and early childhood development center teachers as per previous agreements with the government, as well as salary scales and increment and salary adjustments. Nanumaya Parajuli, coordinator of the Central Action Mobilization Committee, informed that the teachers will only sit for talks after the government fulfills their 24 points demands, including the provision of a social security fund for teachers, a teachers council, transfer of positions and a teachers hospital. As the government has not been positive about this proposal, the teachers have continued their protest for the 10th day. And in this context, in our Public Voice segment today, we have asked in several provinces, what do you say to the teachers who have come to Kathmandu for protest? Let's take a look at what they had to say.
राज्यले यो तपाईहरुको आन्दोलनबाट तपाईहरुका मागहरुलाई चाँडै नै सम्बोधन गर्नुपर्छ। यो राज्यको दायित्वभित्र पनि पर्दछ।
वार्ता होस्, शिक्षकहरुको मागहरु पनि सरकारले सुनिदियोस्।
उहाँहरुको मागहरु त जायज छ, कतिपय जायज छ, कतिपय छैन, हैन? त्यो कुरा त्यो सरकारले जसरी पनि ध्यान दिनुपर्छ। सरकारलाई असर परोस् नपरोस्, विद्यार्थीलाई असर पर्न भएन।
सरकारसँग नियमित रूपमा वार्ताको माध्यमबाट समस्याको समाधान खोज्ने, तर विद्यार्थीको पढ्न पाउने अधिकारलाई चाहिँ वञ्चित गर्न पाइदैन।
गम्भीर रूपमा सरकारले नलिँदा अब बच्चाहरुको समेत भविष्य पनि अन्धकार हुने अवस्था सिर्जना भइसकेको छ। यसमा राज्य अलिकतै गम्भीर रूपमा भएर अघि बढ्नुपर्ने हामी देखिरहेको छौं।
आफ्नो आवश्यकता अथवा आफ्नो चाहिँ के रे सुविधाको लागि मात्रै नभएर एउटा विद्यार्थीको एउटा पढाइको अथवा गुणस्तरको बारेमा पनि एउटा उहाँहरूले चाहिँ आन्दोलन अगाडि बढाउनु भए सन्दर्भिक हुन्थ्यो।
शिक्षकहरु सब आन्दोलनमा उत्रिएपछि विद्यार्थीको भविष्य पनि एकातिर तलतिर खस्किदै गइरहेको छ।
कसरी कोर्स सक्नुहुन्छ, उहाँहरुको गुणस्तर कसरी कायम गर्नुहुन्छ, त्यो कुरामा उहाँहरुले ख्याल गर्नु पर्यो। आलो पालो गर्ने हो कि
एक दुईटा बुदाहरु अलिकता असम्भव पनि हुन सक्छ, तर पनि मेन चाहिँ शिक्षकको मागहरु जायज छन् भन्ने लाग्छ मलाई।
शिक्षकहरुलाई को मागको प्रति सरकारले पनि ध्यान दिनुपर्छ। आफ्नो अधिकारको लागि शिक्षा ऐनको लागू गराउन लागि हैन उनीहरुको जायज माग छ।
यो जायज माग हो, अब यो गर्दिनु पर्ने सरकारलाई।
Sports news. The scheduled 10th National Games, which was to be held in Karnali province in the Nepali month of Jyeshtha, has been postponed again. Despite preparations to organize the 10th National Games from Jyeshtha 3rd to 10th, 2082 BS after the second postponement, the board meeting of the National Sports Council has stated that the competition cannot be held at the predetermined time. The NSC board meeting has decided to postpone the games for now with the intention of holding them at a suitable time. Member Secretary Tonkalal Khising stated that games were postponed after the Karnali province government expressed its inability to conduct the competition, citing various technical reasons. According to the Member Secretary, although 6 members were in favor of holding it at the same time, the decision to postpone the competition was based on priority. When the 9th National Games concluded in Gandaki Province in 2079 BS, the flag was handed over with the understanding that the 10th National Games would be held in Karnali Province 2 years later, that is in 2081 BS. However, due to the physical infrastructure and technical reasons, the competition could not be held on the scheduled time, leading to the first postponement to Chaitra 2081 BS. Citing financial reasons, it could not be held in Chaitra either, and the date was postponed for the second time to mid-May 2025. Despite the establishment of a secretariat and formation of various subcommittees, the National Games will not take place. The logo and mascot of the competition have already been made public. Member Secretary Ghising expressed his sadness over the repeated postponement of the National Games competition. That is all for the moment. Up next is news in Nepali. Thank you for watching. Good night.